Hello, my name is Michael Smith, and I'm here to welcome you to the last of a series of presentations on tools of the best game. Today we're going to talk about measurement, and in this session we're going to talk about a critical leadership tool that is way too often unused, and then when it is used is frequently misused. But when it's well done, it makes an incredible difference to your best game, to any organization. That tool is simply building and using an inspiring way to measure and give feedback on people's performance. There are three goals to this workshop. The first is to convince you that measurement is essential to a passionate, high-performance work environment. Secondly, I want to make the argument that measurement is essential because everyone wants feedback on their performance. And then we will explore some possible measurement criteria that should be on your scoreboard, which is really just a measurement tool that you will want to construct for your organization. Before we get too far along in our discussion of the importance and practicality of measurement, let's do a little bit of foundational work and see if we can agree to the following. The success of almost any endeavor is how well we allocate scarce and precious resources for their highest and best use in pursuit of a goal. First, let's state the obvious. We rarely, if ever, have all the resources we need to get the things done we want to accomplish. Our scarce and precious resources are normally time, money, passion, people, equipment, raw materials, intelligence, etc. And what determines the success of how we do is how well we take what's available to us and apply it to get what we want. And that's not easy. Think about your organization for a minute and let me ask you two pretty tough questions that are essential to your organization's success. First, how do you decide how to allocate your scarce and precious resources for their highest and best use? And the second question, critical to your success, is how do you know objectively or measurably that your organization is really having success? The answer to the first question comes primarily from how well you and your organization define the why of your enterprise and then the goals you want to achieve that make your mission a reality. The answer to the second question is measuring the ROI, or return on investment, of whatever you define as your most important and expensive, usually, scarce and precious resources. Well, what should we measure? A couple of very smart Harvard professors, whose last names are Kaplan and Norton, have suggested measuring four things that make organizations successful over the long haul. They call the result of their research a balanced scorecard. Here's what they suggest you measure to ensure the health and longevity of your organization. The first area is financial. Measure an important financial number. It's reality that every organization, whether for-profit or not-for-profit, must make at least $1. Know your financial engine and decide what it will take to keep it healthy. Secondly, measure the quality of the systems that are important to your organization to ensure that what you do that is important gets done well repeatedly. Thirdly, measure the quality and contribution of the people you have on your team, whose capabilities and capacities most affect what it is your organization wants to accomplish. And fourthly, measure how your customer or clients see and experience your organization related to what it is your organization wants to accomplish. While measurement and feedback on performance is a critical tool, it can also be misused and can be demotivating. So be very careful about what gets measured, because what gets measured gets done. Here's why. Many times we measure too much. How many of you can look at a profit and loss statement, a balance sheet, and a cash flow statement, and after sorting through all the little numbers and details, can give an overview of the business that supplied the numbers? Not many, to be sure. There is usually so much information on those financial statements that no normal person would be interested in picking up one instead of a magazine in a waiting room. We measure too little. I have the honor of working with some very successful CEOs. Would you be surprised to know that most of them measure almost nothing except knowing how much money that there is in their bank account and what their total sales dollars are for the month? Most don't know how to utilize financial statements, scoreboards as essential decision-making tools. Thirdly, we measure stuff that has little to do with what we want to accomplish. What's the most important thing your company wants to accomplish? How do you measure getting that most important thing accomplished? Do you measure how well you get done what's most important? What happens if you don't? If you're starting to feel uncomfortable answering those last few questions, you're in good company. Most organizations don't measure the right stuff. See if this helps make sense of why measuring the right things is important. What gets measured in a football game in order of priority? Right, the number of points each team scores. And then time, expired or what's left, what quarter is it, how many timeouts left, which team has the ball, what down is it, and how many yards needed for a first down. There's a lot of statistics that get measured that are not normally on a scoreboard, and why not? Because it's not critically important to winning the game. What gets measured gets done. Measure the right thing, and the right thing gets done. Measure the wrong thing, and the wrong thing gets done. Measure too much, and nothing gets done. The lesson here is be very careful what you measure. Finally, we don't measure and encourage positive competition. You know the reason people hate their jobs? It's not because the job is meaningless. Almost every job has a good reason behind it. It's because leadership fails team members by not explaining why their job is important, what good performance looks like, and sharing what's in it for the person who's doing the work. Sharing measurement and encouraging positive competition works for games, has since humans started playing together. So why don't we use the principle of measurement and competition in business? Remember that what gets measured, good or bad, gets done. Be very careful what you measure. Finally, the last and best thing I can share with you from my experience about measurement is if it's not actionable, don't share it. If the information you share motivates you and your team to work on some issue, celebrate some improvement, or stop doing something unprofitable, terrific. If the information you want to share doesn't initiate some sort of action, save it. Okay, let's review. What did you hear? Well, first of all, we introduced the idea that we must measure the ROI of our scarce and precious resources, that success is directly related to how well we do that. The second thing we decided was we have to be very careful of what we measure. If we measure the wrong thing gets done. If we measure the right thing gets done. If we measure too many things, almost nothing gets done. Before we start the process of measurement, we clearly have to define our own personal organization's why and our SMART goals so that we measure the right things and we complement our why and our SMART goal. Finally, we talked about 4 measurement criteria: financial, people or team, systems, and then customers or clients. We had 3 goals for this. We said measurement is essential to a passionate, high-performance work environment, and that measurement essentially is feedback on performance. And finally, we explored different kinds of measurement criteria, and you'll have to decide whether we had success. I appreciate you listening to all of these sessions, this one particularly.